Good morning, traders. This is Brad Matheny. Today is June 4th, Sunday. This is the Bitcoin and crypto video. I'm carrying over from last week. I've got a couple of pages that I'm going to keep updating you with. This is my Bitcoin page. These are the intermediate support levels that we had been drawing. This is a weekly chart. Let me spread this out so you can see what's going on. And what we are going to do is move you to the current scenario. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned to you that Bitcoin was moving downward, and I had drawn these lines probably on the daily chart. Yep, on the daily chart. And let's take a look here at kind of what's taking place and how things are moving. So we are moving in a decidedly weakening trend, downward trend. And this is because the markets are generally unwinding. We are going to see that Bitcoin is not going to find any real appreciative movement until possibly later 2023 and very late 2024 or mid 2025, which is why I project that Bitcoin is going to move downward into this 24,000, possibly 21,000 area, retesting these support levels. Currently, it's trying to find some support here. It looks like it's weakening into the downside. We had a little bit of a bump about a week and a half ago, still below this critical resistance area right over here, and moving downward. I believe we're going to move down into this area over the next couple of weeks. I believe we're going to try to find support in this area, and as you can see how I've drawn, we come over here. We're going to find a little support, a little move from 24,000 up to maybe 26.7, 26.8, and then we're going to move downward into this lower channel, possibly into the 19, 20,000, 21,000 area. And long and short of it, like I said, the unwinding, the deeper lows here, we have lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. We need to kind of break below this level, 25,900. Is the next major level that we're going to see a downside move, and I believe that's going to come as a broader unwinding of the U.S. global stock market moving downward. Now, I have been showing you also this custom index chart, and I'm going to go to weekly on this because this is my custom index chart for Bitcoin, and you can see that we've flattened out. We've seen a bit of a move to the upside last week, but you can see here downward trending. We see downward trending all the way through. We're in this moderate. Let me see if I can drag this up. We're in this moderate blip here, this upward blip. This is because of the speculation, the blow off top move. This is Bitcoin down here. Yeah, so this is the 60-70 area. We're back above the 50 area here off of this blip. And this is Bitcoin down here moving in the 55, 60,000 range. So I'll move this out here. So you can see this blip, how we had an upward move here, downward, downward, downward. Then we had this blip here. This is speculative trading taking place. You can see we had the same types of moves over here. This is basically a double topping formation, a rejection that is setting up. More than likely, we're going to get a rejection back to the downside here. I believe we're going to see a broader downward move back down into this area, possibly this 22, 27, 28, 30, right in this area. And that's going to put Bitcoin back down into this area, this 22, 23 area on a weekly basis. We're getting broader concentration of capital away from speculative assets. Now we're looking for undervalued assets, and to be honest with you, Bitcoin at $25,000, $30,000 is not, in my opinion, an undervalued asset. We've seen this big rally from late 2022, from down here around 15, 16,000 all the way up to 30,000. That's 100% move to the upside. We need to revert further back to the downside, possibly back down into this area before we're going to find some support, which is what I'm showing you here. We may see some support, like I said, another rally attempt in late 2023, moving into 2024, but I think it's going to continue to really roll downward. Again, come back over here, you see these funny little lines that I've drawn. Really, we have a scenario where we're going to have this upward move possibly here, 2023, 2024, followed by a downward cycle trend, possibly even lower, back down into the 20,000 area, and then we're going to attempt to really rally, build a base and rally out of this. So we have a very solid downside potential here with a little bit of an upside move here. So you have a chance here from roughly 24,000, maybe up to 29,000 near the end of the year. But then I think we're going to wane back into the uncertainty of the presidency, the uncertainty of policy, global central banks, and I think that's going to become a very big issue. I believe that this custom index is going to continue to weaken below 50. We'll have to see what happens over the next week or two. If we find some support up above 50, we might see some support holding up for Bitcoin up in this area, maybe attempting to get back up above 30. But overall, I see this downward cycle trend and this downward price activity as being moderately bearish. And I believe that we're going to end up in a downward trend that is going to surprise people, possibly moving back down to 20,000, 21,000 by approximately, well, if my research is correct, it should be somewhere between June, July, August of 2024. Very narrow trading. I mean, still reasonable, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 range for Bitcoin, but overall, again, very narrow trading, seeking direction, not really having any big impetus until we see it start to unwind. And remember, we've got to let the markets, this is very important, you've got to let the markets unwind from this excess. So remember, you see how we were in this mode here? This was expansion up into this range here, and then we had consolidation, then expansion, and then we got into this real explosive speculative phase. Well, now we're trapped back down into this range between this 50 area and this 20 area, and I believe we're going to stay within this range until we build a solid base. And for Bitcoin, that base looks a lot like this, in my opinion. Eventually moving into a 2025, 2026 rally phase that may prove very profitable and may set a target above 100,000 by 2028, 2029. But we need to navigate this trend and trade this very efficiently because the risks are excessive. I see that we are going to really roll lower, find some support, maybe retest the 50, 55 area back up here, come back up into this 30 area, 31,000, 30,000 area by the end of this year, 2023, then roll back downward, attempt to reestablish support back in this area, maybe 20,000, maybe 24,000, then start to move into a consolidated base and really begin to appreciate. Okay, let's go over to the ETH BTC, and someone mentioned that I was calling these the wrong things. Now, last time I highlighted that we had a little breakout, takeout right here, and that this was indicative of an upward move. And you can see we had a nice, solid, really a good move to the upside here. And this is leading us back into this area where I had highlighted a week or so ago. So we're getting very, very close to this area. Understand that in order to prompt real downward trending, okay, we need to have this lower low, lower high, lower low. So this is really a lower low here. Now we've got a higher low, and we could move up into a higher high back over here. So we could tag this 0.07 area, maybe a little bit higher. And that may move us into a, let me get rid of this, that may move us into an upward trending scenario over here, potentially, and this is a daily chart, potentially setting up a very solid base. So let me get rid of this. and explain to you that in this range, we could take hypothetically a Fibonacci level across here, and we could assume that if we can get above this level here, setting a new high with confirmation, then we would likely roll back down into this area, find some support, maybe down into this area, find some support, setting up a move up to the upside and attempting to retest these areas here. So we need to see this really break to the upside. This is very strong support in this area. You have essentially a rejection of trend here. You have a rejection of trend here. Then you have a reversal of trend here. So now what we need to do is see if this rejection, these two rejections here, hold up, provide sufficient enough support, which would be above this 0.0642 level, meaning this level here would become our support. And what we would want to do here is we would want to watch price trend. We have to take out this high here in order to establish some new upward trend. Taking out this high will likely result in some sort of temporary rejection back to the downside, given my expectation that the markets will continue to unwind until the end of 2023. Notice that, and let me see if I can do this here. Notice that a lot of my analysis is based on the premise that we are going to move into a broader end of year cycle phase in 2023, going into January, February, March 2024. So a lot of my analysis is based on the concept that we are going to enter into a unknown, uncertain period of time between now and say September, October of 2023. That is essentially the prediction that you're seeing here. This move up may be qualified simply because of this breakout and this upward trending. We may get up into this area. We will likely find rejection in this area and some sort of a downward move until we get into this basing September, October area. And that puts us really kind of in this mode back over here. So September, October, before we start maybe to see some sort of an upward trend. And that's, again, the basis of what's likely to happen. There's a lot of underlying mechanics at play here, okay? We've got, we've got a lot of shifting trends. We've got new presidential candidates. We've got laws related to cryptos and Bitcoin coming into play. These are all theoretical fundamentals, but beyond the concept of that is the 15 plus months of uncertainty that typically come before a presidential election. So, we come back over here to Bitcoin, and we come back, let's go as far back as we can, and show you again what happens during presidential election cycles. So we had a presidential election cycle in 2016-17, right? 2016. Let me come back over here. So here's our presidential election cycle, November 2016. You can see that through the 15, 16 months prior to that, and remember, this was zero interest rate policy, we had this growth, okay? We had this fairly strong growth. Then we had another election cycle in 2014. Okay, sorry, 2012, back over here, because they're four years apart. So we had a scenario here where we had a little bit of a blip back over here. But understand that the 15, 16 months prior to the election, which is really from here, 16 all the way back to here, roughly, we had this extended consolidation phase before we started moving into an appreciation phase, which was the big appreciation phase that took place during 2018. Big move from 300 all the way up to 19,000. So now, where we're at right now is we're in this sideways phase, and as I mentioned to you, we will likely base and start to move into some sort of a bottoming formation around 20 grand, around maybe 19, 18, 19, $20,000 for Bitcoin into early mid 2024 before we start to see some upward trending. But again, I will update you as we go. The real key factor here is the range basing that is taking place here. Okay, we need to watch this ranging take place right here. If we get a rejection up here and move back to the downside, then you can almost be guaranteed that Bitcoin is going to come down and move into this area. If we stay above 50 and hold above 50 week after week, then there's a chance we might see it change direction and move back up to 33, 35,000. This is a big unexpected week here, folks. This is really kind of a blow off top. That's what, you know, I'm expecting moving forward. But I do expect this to weaken over the next 2 or 3 weeks, move strongly back to the downside, back into this 24, 25, 26 area, and that would put Bitcoin back down into this 23, 22,000 area, meaning that we're going to see a fairly strong unwinding, essentially about a 20%, if I do the math right, about a 20% decrease before we're going to find a bottom. Okay, I'll try to keep you updated. Remember, I'm doing this week by week. It's not that I don't understand Bitcoin and cryptos, it's that I am reading it as we go, okay? Talk to you soon.